All right, guys, we're back here on Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel. We're previewing Tuesday's matchup at Madison Square Garden, New York. Max knows a little bit about New York. 8 p.m. Central Time tip-off. UConn and Florida, a rematch of the NCAA tournament, Max, from last season. A rematch of the two latest back-to-back national champion type teams. Wait a minute, are we getting ahead of ourselves? Florida going to win another back-to-back? I don't know. That's going to be a big test for the Gators. We are presented by FanDuel, and we don't have a line as of yet, Max, but I'm sure the analytics can give us an idea of what this could look like.
Yeah, probably about 4 or 5 point favorite for the Huskies here at Madison Square Garden, my backyard. Like you said, Blake, rematch of the second round, 77-75 Gators victory. Make no mistake about it, though. The Huskies were up by 3 with under 4 minutes left. That was as testy of a second round game as it gets for a 1 seed. We had that one circled right when the bracket came out. And now, you best believe, Dan Hurley wants revenge on Todd Golden. Quick little injury update. Terrace Reed, big man for UConn's been dealing with an ankle. We're expecting him to play, folks. We're expecting him to give it a go. Missed the past few games. Did try to get out there against Illinois. 15 minutes. Didn't look like Terrace Reed. Been game to game. Think we're going to see Terrace Reed here. Finally, a fully healthy UConn team, Blake, which may not be the best news for Gators fans.
Yeah, like you said, it is the rematch, but obviously a bit different in terms of the roster for the Gators, except for the obvious with the front court. Still some pieces to the puzzle that are the same with UConn, as we know. But yeah, the Huskies have been really good to this point. Their only blemish on the resume, a 4-point home loss to Arizona. We've seen what Arizona has done to not only Florida, but Auburn as well. Wildcats look tremendous. UConn, of course, recently got the road win at Kansas. They have a win over BYU, win over Illinois. Yes, this is obviously a team that feels like it can get back to competing for a national championship. Can Florida do the same? Well, they come off the close call, 67-66 loss at Duke. And really, Max, I mean, the story continues to kind of be the same here with the Gators. It's a team that is really struggling to find its groove offensively. And when it comes to its guard play, its perimeter play, that's still the story here, and I think that's going to continue to be the story moving forward. Right now, a team that's shooting 27% from three, which is 343rd nationally. They're turning the ball over. They're still getting a lot of offensive rebounds just because the front court is what it is, but I think that's still going to be the story. And a game like this is you're going to look up, and if you're going to win this matchup, like you're going to have to make shots, and that's been easier said than done for the Gators so far.
Yeah, in that game last year, Florida shot 47.4% from three. 47% from three. Their season high this year, they've met it twice against Providence and Merrimack, 36.4%. So the Gators going to look to have their best 3-point outing of the season so far. It's going to be tough going against a top 15 3-point percentage defense in the Huskies. That's actually a story of the game, Blake. 3-point percentage defense. Both teams top 15 in the nation in 3-point percentage defense. So, all right, where are you going to score? You going to get efficient looks inside the arc, or you're going to get to the free throw line? That's pretty much the difference in this game. Florida, a little bit of a higher free throw rate than UConn. However, UConn a little bit more efficient from 2-point range. Whoever wins that battle, finding more efficient baskets inside the arc, that's going to be the team that wins this game, because Blake, so far up till this point, both perimeter defense have been really good.
Yeah, and I think that's where if you're UConn, you are daring Florida to beat you.
Yeah.
Anywhere but around the rim. And I think that's honestly what it's going to come down to. Is just a matter of seeing how maybe Florida runs their offense here, knowing that. Like, it is kind of one where we've been like, well, eventually you start making shots. Maybe, but I don't know if I'd want to just completely test that theory in a game like this, where, it is going to feel like you don't have a lot of room for error here. So, it is going to be a game where I think you're relying on the normal things of, hey, we got to get the ball to Tommy H. Alex Condon's got to play well. we got to get a lot of offensive rebounds. And we really just have to be aggressive. Like you said, I think getting to the free throw line is going to be very important because right now you're talking about a team that really, we could say, hey, a lot of teams that maybe are having success, they're three dimensional. They can score from three, they're efficient from two, and they get to the free throw line. Not a lot of teams that can do all those at an elite level. But right now, if you're Florida, like you're basically feeling like you're removing one element of the offense and just knowing that you're really struggling to consistently make shots. So I think that's going to be the story here is can UConn keep this Florida team off the glass just with how many guys they're going to throw at you? Because I think, obviously just playing UConn too, knowing the way they're going to defend, you're going to have to get some easy baskets here if you're Florida. And I think that's going to be the story of this game. If they don't get enough easy baskets and UConn makes it hard on them, and once again, maybe forces some of these guys who are struggling a bit to take more shots, then that's a problem for the Gators.
Yeah, and make no mistake, this UConn defense has been really good. It has, and
Yeah.
it's only improved since Mullins has been inserted into the lineup. Started the year with an injury, but at 6'6", 200 pounds, Mullins is just dynamic, really good defender, and it's going to be interesting to see how Florida defends Blake because I mean, Ruben Chinyelu against Duke, this rotation for Florida cuts down to 7 immediately. You have the starting lineup, and then you got Klavchar playing basically 30 minutes, and Micah Hinlocked in the one big off the bench. That's it. It was 7, and that was it against Duke. So Chinyelu in the second half, fantastic job defensively against Cam Boozer, but that was like brute force on brute force. You don't want Chinyelu, and Neil Blackman Florida Basketball Hour did a great breakdown of this. You don't want Ruben flying around screens trying to chase Caravan every possession. You don't have Tommy H do that. Tommy H can fly through, screens and run around defensively. You don't want Condon or Chinyelu doing that. So when they have Mullins, Caravan, and either Ryba or Reed out there, how does Florida defend that? It's going to be interesting to see because against Arizona, they kind of just played that drop coverage with Jaden Bradley, and they said, Jaden Bradley, try to hit your mid-range stuff. Well, Jaden Bradley hit all his mid-range stuff. Silas Demery, Blake, last year, the Gator Killer in Athens. The Gator Killer in Athens had 20 points in one of Florida's only losses last year. I think that's how Florida's going to choose to defend again. Drop coverage, and you stick to Mullins, you stick to Caravan, and you say, hey, Demery, Smith, try to score 20 in the mid-range. Jaden Bradley had a night doing it, and you take what, that's how the cards fell. But it's going to be interesting to see how Florida defends this UConn team because Mullins kind of adds a sniper shooter wing element that they didn't have the first few games of the season.
I'll always ask the X factor for the SEC team. Like you mentioned maybe it could be Chinyelu. I mean, I think Xavier Lee could be just an easy choice based on the fact that you gotta, I think, just have something significant here, maybe just to see if you can kind of turn a corner. It's a big game like this. We kind of look at the recent results. Had the big game against Providence, but still struggled at Duke. But I think to me, it's a Boogie Flan game again, and I think it's just one where he's been pretty consistent. I think overall. I mean, he gave them the chance to win the game at Duke. Like, I mean, the guy just hit big shots. And I think, once again, if they're going to have a chance to win this game, he's gotten a bit more consistent, I feel like, just in watching him play. Maybe comfortable is the right word. I feel like he's more comfortable in what they're doing. And I think, he's going to have to be very aggressive here because, like I said, I think you're going to see a UConn defense. The way they're going to set this thing up is they are going to probably try to dare you to beat them anywhere outside of 15 feet. And I think this is one where, like you said, as important as getting to the free throw line will be here, I think it's just as important just to simply be aggressive and be on attack mode, knowing that, hey, I may get bumped a little bit more around the rim, but I've got some guys around me that have a really good chance of getting offensive rebounds. So even if I'm not hitting every shot when I go in there, I've still got to find a way to create because, like we said, otherwise right now it's just it doesn't feel like the best approach unless you just have a team that is in attack mode, and it all starts with Boogie. So,
I'm not sure if I have a single player I could circle as an X factor, but it's a category of the game, and that's Florida's turnovers. This is Dan
Yeah.
Hurley's best turnover forcing team since they were in the American, where they would like Book Knight and Gilbert and all those cats in the backcourt. They're 60th nationally right now in turnover rate. That's his best in the Big East. And then this is Todd Golden. This is his most turnover prone offense in his 7-year head coaching career. Most turnover, all San Fran teams, and then the years at Florida. This is his most turnover prone offense. So for me, like the X factor of this game is, can Florida go to MSG where it's clearly going to be a pro UConn crowd, and can they take care of the ball offensively? Because if you don't, I think there's the game right there, Blake, because we know that UConn is going to create mismatches offensively. They're going to run great off-ball stuff. They're going to get good looks. It's Dan Hurley and UConn with a veteran team. They're going to get good looks. Florida cannot give them more good looks. They're going to generate enough on their own. So my thing would be circle Lee, Klabchar, and Fland. And are they taking care of the basketball? Even the Florida bigs have struggled with turnovers this year a little bit. You have to minimize giving UConn easy baskets because you know they're going to generate a bunch on their own.
All right, picks between these two teams. Updated FanDuel National Championship odds. UConn currently tied with Duke for the second best odds behind Michigan. It's plus 1,000 for both UConn and the Dukies. Florida dropped to plus 2,000 now. Thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is going to be, I think, a closer game than most people think. I feel like the general consensus is going to be UConn at MSG. They're so tough to beat there. And hey, let's not, sugarcoat it. This is a Florida backcourt that has underwhelmed quite significantly so far. However, I think there's a lot to take away from that Duke game. I think that you're seeing this rotation get minimized down and kind of solidified a little bit more. So I don't think it's as clear cut as most people are going to think. I'm going to go UConn here to take the win. I think that turnover stuff and the addition of Mullins into the lineup just adds another element for UConn that is going to be a little bit scary for folks. I think UConn is actually one of my favorites right now to win it all. I think they're one of the most complete teams in the country. I'm gonna go UConn here to win it, but I'm not no rock lock for me, Blake. I think this is gonna be a tight game. I think Florida's found something after that Duke game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that they're going to take something out of that and be able to use that moving forward, but I'm going to pick UConn too. I'm sorry, but when in doubt right now, pick against the SEC. It's just unfortunately where we are at this point early in non-conference play, and I just think we've seen a bit more consistency from UConn to this point, and I want to see Florida win one of these games. And I know you could certainly make the argument, hey, it felt like they were right there, should have won the Duke game. It didn't happen though. And so how do you respond? And like I said, I think there are some potential issues offensively going up against this UConn team and what they do defensively. So I'll pick UConn as well. But if you want to pick some great fine sponsors to support, you can support ours over at the Yearly Company. Nashville-based fine jewelry built on tradition, designed for meaning, solid 14-karat gold, natural gemstones, backed by a lifetime guarantee. Every Yearly Company bangle is custom sized, so knowing your size, the most important step before you order. If your husband out there wants to get some holiday shopping done, do it now because you got to get it before the inventory could run out. All these people were sending them from Southeastern 16. Go buy it. Get 100% off the sizing kit. 100% off. SE16 kit is the code at checkout. SE16 kit. 100% off the sizing kit. Go get that before you do your shopping. That way you know the size. Check out our friends at the Yearly Company. And ROKFORM, ROKFORM.com, the world's strongest magnetic phone case. Extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock, secure mounting. No rock lock for this game, as Max said, but you can go check out their phone cases, accessories, all that good stuff, and get 25% off SEC25, 25% off over at ROKFORM.com. All right, appreciate you guys watching. As always, leave your score predictions in the comments below. Who wins? UConn and Florida, MSG on Tuesday night. Thanks as always for watching. We'll talk to you soon here at Southeastern 16, presented by FanDuel.